And the Supreme Court's decision to uphold former Governor Mike Sonko's impeachment has elicited mixed reactions from residents of Mombasa. Take a look.
Mimi kwa maoni yangu mimi nasema hivi, hiyo ni sawa kabisa na linakana liwe funzo kwa magavana wengine ambao wenye wanavuja pesa za wananchi. Wewe umejakuliwa kuingia katika ofisi, unaenda pale, unapora mali ya umma, inafanya mpaka wananchi wanahangaika. Hii iwe funzo kwa wengine.
Kwa ile makosa ambayo alifanya, ni kweli mtu anaweza fanya makosa na akasamehewa makosa yake kulingana vile alivyokuwa amejieleza. Lakini kwa upande wa Governor Sonko wamemuonea, manake huku wanamzungusha, wanasema ya kwamba wamemkubalia. Akienda kule kwengine wanasema hakubaliki. Sasa tunashindwa kujua kwamba hii serikali kwa nini inazungusha mtu, inampeleka huku badala ya kumwambia ukweli kuliko apoteze muda wake. Afadhali serikali iseme kama haitaki mtu, ni iseme kuwa hatumtaji mtu, na iseme ya kwamba kuwa wewe haufai kwa sababu ulifanya ABCD.
Mambo ya Sonko ni siasa. Kwa sababu kama mahakama ni wa Mombasa amepitisha Sonko asimame, wa Nairobi vipi watakataa Sonko asisimame? Sisi kama vijana tunataka Sonko asimame Mombasa. Kwa sababu Sonko na maendeleo.
Siasa iko ndani yake, maana kweli huyu bwana alipoingia hapa Mombasa watu wengi walifurahia sana. Si heti maskini pekao ama wakaaji wa Mombasa pekao, mpaka hao bwana wa kujenga nyumba makubwa hapa walikuwa wamefurahia sana.
And we're staying with the Mike Sonko story, and the Supreme Court has dismissed former Nairobi Governor Mike Sonko's appeal challenging his impeachment by the Nairobi County Assembly. And we're now joined in studio by Steve Ogola. He's an advocate of the High Court, just to help us interpret what today's ruling means. Wakili, what lies ahead for Sonko's political future? Is this the end for him politically?
Thank you, Lillian. What the Supreme Court judgment now means, it means that Sonko's chances of ever being elected or appointed to any public office has been effectively extinguished. The more urgent and maybe residual question is that should that extinction happen now by IEBC acting suo motu, or someone needs to invite IEBC or move IEBC to be able to react to this judgment? I think in my reading of the law, in terms of Article 75, Sub-Article 3 of the Constitution, if you are removed from office, such as impeachment, you don't stand to run or to qualify to be appointed in any office. The only reason why IEBC cleared Governor Sonko is because a 3-judge bench held that he had not exhausted the appeal. Now that he has exhausted his appeal and the Supreme Court has found that his appeal was not merited and it has been effectively dismissed, what it now means is that there are two options that exist. Either the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission can go to the High Court and apply for review of the orders that were given, which cleared him in light of this significant development from the Supreme Court, and the High Court can now direct IEBC to deregister Governor Sonko. In the alternative, any public-spirited Kenyan may serve that order upon IEBC, and then IEBC will have a chance to reflect on it and decide whether it can act on its own to bus Governor Sonko, or whether it is functus officio, and therefore it cannot act on its own until directed by the court. So that is the space to watch.
Right. Essentially, the question that people are asking is, can the IEBC deregister him? Is he essentially locked out of the Mombasa gubernatorial race?
Governor Sonko is essentially locked out whether IEBC deregistered him on its own motion or not, because it's just a matter of time. If IEBC elects not to deregister him on grounds that it has already become functus officio means you have performed your constitutionally ordained duty, and therefore you have no role in going back to reopening what you've already decided, which means then the High Court would have to direct IEBC. Even if Governor Sonko's name persisted and to the ballot, it's very unlikely that he will ever serve as governor of Mombasa, even if he were to be elected, because the reading of Article 75, Sub-Article 3 is final. Once you have been impeached and you've exhausted your avenues of appeal, it does not even matter that that Supreme Court judgment has been delivered after the election or before. eventually he will have to exit. So the question is of timing. I think the way we can help the commission, and I would like to urge the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission to quickly and urgently move to the High Court on Monday, extract an order reviewing the earlier orders given by the High Court, then directing IEBC to then deregister Governor Sonko.
Right.
If the EACC has not done so, then all eyes will be on IEBC, whether IEBC can read the law in a manner that permits them to either take judicial notice of this Supreme Court judgment or to invite someone to serve them with this judgment, whereupon they can then deregister. But either way, Governor Sonko will not serve as governor of Mombasa, even if he proceeded the ballot.
And we know that some of the candidates that will be on the ballot, Steve, are of dubious character, dubious integrity. So in terms of Chapter 6, and especially as a cautionary measure for other public office holders, how should they interpret today's ruling?
I think today's judgment from the Supreme Court has renewed faith in the judiciary. I was one of the people that had a problem with the three-judge bench judgment, which seemed to interfere with the finality of impeachment and the integrity of the Constitution insofar as deepening our commitment to integrity questions is concerned. This judgment has now effectively closed. Remember, in the last paragraph of the judgment, the court said we must give meaning to Chapter 6 of the Constitution, which means if the courts play their role, if the judiciary plays its role in a manner that advances the Constitution's core commitment, we would not be having people who are of dubious integrity being cleared to run. We are always quick to judge IEBC and even judge them harshly. Yet IEBC is also constrained by the legal framework in which it operates. Ultimately, Lillian, if there are candidates of dubious integrity which have been flagged out by EACC did a report, you saw that, or flagged out by the civil society, because in every election, the civil society prepares what they call a red card report. It is upon the public, the voters, to make sure that you stop persons of dubious integrity at the ballot. We cannot overemphasize the need to organize government at the ballot, and the citizens cannot also escape scrutiny or accountability if you have people of dubious integrity presenting themselves. That itself is a problem, but there's a bigger problem if voters actually vote for such people. So accountability is at two levels: judicial accountability in the manner in which they make their decision, and political accountability in the manner in which our voters exercise their right.
And there were questions around whether this impeachment was unlawful. Does this today's move define the way forward as regards the impeachment procedure for county assemblies dealing with errant governors?
I think I've had the occasion of reading the summarized judgment. It's not really groundbreaking, and it has not clarified much because it dealt with procedural aspects of impeachment, which anyone who is aggrieved by the manner in which impeachment has been conducted, he has a right to approach the High Court and even the Court of Appeal and the Supreme Court in that order for review. So yes, impeachment still has its political relevance and constitutional value. It has not been watered down. The only point of concern, which the Supreme Court did not address, I think a more purposive and holistic reading of Article 75(3) should limit the ability of a governor who has been impeached to seek protection from the court. My reading of that provision means if you have been impeached, you cannot then rely on Article 193(3), which then says people who are pending appeals should then be protected from being locked out. I think in the case of the governor, the purpose of the intention was to, if you are impeached, you exit the scene permanently. But the court seemed to have opened up that space and allowed them to keep on running. In short, what we are likely to see in the subsequent elections is that governors who have been impeached are likely to try and manipulate the justice system to make sure that the cases drag, and lawyers will then use those tactics to delay the cases so that even if the Supreme Court were to dismiss their petitions that uphold the impeachment, it happens at least 1 year after they've been elected, so that at least they've served for 1 year.
And
we need to review that.
Yes, and as we close, Steve, in line with what you have said, in terms of the precedent that the Supreme Court has set in terms of protecting the integrity of the Constitution, and indeed in this particular case, the finality of impeachment.
I think the Supreme Court still has not done an excellent job in terms of protecting the finality of the impeachment, because the Supreme Court did not concern itself with the questions that were posed at the High Court. Whether a governor who has been impeached can still get the protection from Article 193.3. I think if IEBC appealed that to the Court of Appeal, the matter would then reach the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court would be able to isolate that question and say, should a governor who has been impeached benefit from the protection under Article 193.3, which says if you have been removed from office or found guilty of violating the Constitution, you may still run, provided that you have appellate processes ongoing. But insofar as the court has upheld the impeachment of Governor Sonko and emphasized, even if it is a footnote, that the integrity provisions of the Constitution, especially Chapter 6, must be given value, I think they have done a good job.
All right. And we thank you so much, Steve Ogola. He's an advocate of the High Court, just breaking down and helping us interpret the Supreme Court's decision to bring to an end Mike Mbuvi's short but eventful and flamboyant career in elective politics. Many thanks.